My auntie is an author. The name of the book is My Life Journey. The book. What you said? Deuces. Deuces.
I did it too quick.
Behind the author. Okay. How was my life before becoming an author? Life prior to being an author was kind of up and down. I mean, I'm not saying everything is perfect now because it's not. I still have my up and down days. But before being an author, you know, I went to school. I work. I hung with my friends, hung with my family. I mean, life before being an author was just life. It's a regular life. I mean, I have the same life now as being an author. The only difference now is I'm pushing myself on that, and I'm steadily promoting what I'm doing. I'm promoting my project. You know, just with being an author, a lot of people, they just write, but I want to expand what I do. I don't want to just have books. I want to have a business. You know, my life's journey, like I always say, it's not just a book, it's a business. So just my life, you know, I didn't have to really be a role model, so to speak, for people I didn't know. I always try to be a role model for my family and, you know, my nieces and nephews and my younger cousins, you know, but now I'm like, I have other people, other kids looking at me. So, you know, that's one thing. I have to just be careful what I do, be careful what I say, how I say it, but still be myself. You know, I don't know how to be any other way but to be myself. And I'm not perfect. You know, I have good days, I have bad days, I have days where I want to be a bitch, I have days where I want to be an angel, you know, and that's just me. That comes with the territory of Tracy. That's bottom line. I just want to say that parents, it is very important that you are involved in your kids' lives. You have to be involved when they're at home. You have to be involved when they're at school. You have to know the type of people they're hanging out with. Yes, it's true. I lost my virginity at 14 years old. I talk about it in the book. Why did I do it? Just being curious, I guess. You know, like I had a lot of friends. I was the oldest out of all my friends by a year or, you know, a few months or whatever, but I was the smallest. I was the oldest. Oh goodness, you're really like making me crazy right now asking me this question. But yeah, I was 14 when I lost my virginity. Like I said, if you read the book, you'll know I was smoking weed. I was drinking alcohol. I think back in those days, Parmesan was what I was drinking before Henny came around. But yeah, golden shingler was a little clear liquor with the little gold things. I just thought it was so cute. But yeah, that's the type of alcohol I was drinking back in the day, and I was drinking it straight, no mixing it, like straight. But yeah, 14, I lost my virginity, and it was just because I wanted to. I just felt like all my friends were engaged in some type of sexual activities, and you know, because I was always the quote unquote good girl, I said, okay, good girl want to be a bad girl now, so I'm gonna do this. And I literally, I didn't plan it, you know, but it was this guy that I wasn't even dealing with at the time. I was dating someone else. I was like in the 8th grade. This is so bad. I was dating somebody else who was like a really, really good friend. Like my first real boyfriend. But, you know, he was my age, and so I had seen this other guy, which was kind of like a friend of his, but more like just an older person. So he was 2 years older than me, and I seen him, and I just was like, yo, who is that? Like, that was my whole first thing. Like, yo, who is that? And I told my friend, I said, yo, you gotta hook me up with your brother. And he was like, what? Like, you crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. So I was 14, and I think he was either 16 or 17. Whatever. He was older than me, and he was fine. Like, when I say fine, I mean like curly hair, light skin, like genuine fine. And I think that's what really attracted me to him, was his looks and the fact that he was older than me. And I'm like, oh, he older than me, he don't know what he doing. And you know, So yeah, that's how it happened. Oh, it's easier to write about than talk about. But anyways, so one night it was me and my friends, and we were hanging out. I don't know if anybody familiar with Humboldt Avenue. That used to be like where we used to hang around, like the bridge on Humboldt. So we was hanging out, and the guy I had lost my virginity to, and his friends were in the house. So I told my homeboy, I was like, yo, hook me up with your brother, like seriously. I had seen him before, but never talked to him or anything like that. So we went over there, went over to their house, and it was history. We sat around, him and his friends were smoking weed. We smoked weed with them. Please let me inform y'all. I was 14 smoking weed, and I burnt my lip. It's so embarrassing. But when you hold the weed just like this, like it was so short, and you pass it around or whatever, and it was so short, and my lips aren't like white girl lips. So, and I was, I went to do this, and they like, you can't get it, and I'm like, yes, I can. So I'm holding it real tight, and I go to suck in it. Ooh, too much. Like I burnt my lip. It was over after that. So we was smoking weed, we was drinking, just kicking it or whatever. Next thing I know, I went two of my girlfriends, and there's two of his friends there, everybody in the front, and then he tell me to come to the room. I go to the room, and the rest is history. You have to read the book. I'm not about to go into details right now because it's weird talking about it, but you definitely have to read the book. I was, like I said, 14, and we left. And this is the funny part about it. Please know what you're doing when you lose your virginity or have sex with anybody. A condom, yes. Condom was used. We left, and I went to my girlfriend's grandmother's house, and me and her and my other, I think it was, me, T, and J, we was sitting around at the table, and we just talking. And so her older cousin comes in, which is I can't say his name, I'll just call him DJ. So her older cousin comes in, and like, what y'all doing? And we drinking Kool-Aid back in the days. That's all we used to do. Sit around the table, talk, and drink Kool-Aid. And so he come in, and he like, ooh. And we looking at each other like, what is you talking about? He was like, ooh, one of y'all had sex. So now I'm thinking, okay, the boys from around the way. I'm like, damn, like they told already. Like I just left. It ain't even been a whole hour. I just left from over there, and it's in the streets. And I was like, wow. So nobody would admit to it. So he started coming around the table, and he started smelling us. And me, I'm like, what are you smelling us for? And I want to say he might be like 4 years older than us, but back then it was just like, woo, he was like the older cousin, like 10 years older than us. So he came around and started smelling us, and he got to me, and he was like, it was you. And I'm like, it was me, what? I'm trying to play it off like so innocent because nobody look at me like that, like this is a good girl. It was you. And I'm like, he was like, you had sex. And I'm like, he was like, I'm going to just tell you something. You smell like condoms. He was like, you smell like condoms. You smell like sex. Go in the bathroom and get a rag and wash up. And I was just like so embarrassed, like how I get busted the first time I have sex. But I was happy he told me that, because I would have went home. I don't think my mom or dad would have paid any attention. Like I said, I stayed up in my room. Upstairs was me and my brother little apartment. So I was just happy he did tell me that, because I was just like, oh my gosh. I went in the bathroom at her grandmother's house. I washed up so fast, and like to this day it's still a joke. When he see me, he'd just be coming around smelling me, and I'll be like, get out of here, like please, I'm good, I smell good, I don't smell like sex, or I don't smell like condoms. So females, make sure you go to the bathroom after sex, and make sure you wash over JJ in my candy voice.
would have to been right in front of me for me to notice it. So, no, I didn't know the signs or the, I just didn't notice anything at all.
Now, as a mom, do you think that you weren't on your P's and Q's when you had a daughter that you were raising to not notice the signs that she was sexually active, or did you just didn't care because you were involved in your career or your marriage or whatever other problems you were going through, so you kind of overlooked that teenage thing that girls go through?
That's a possibility, but like I said, if you don't hear things or if you don't actually see something or read something or if you're not suspicious of it, then you just don't know. And I just didn't see any signs, so I didn't know.
He think he's something.